Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back. Ron is coming back over again today, this time on his really cool Harley Davidson motorcycle. Hi Ron.
Good afternoon, Mike.
How are you? Welcome back.
Oh, great riding weather.
It is, isn't it? Hey Ron, thanks very much for coming over and bringing your Harley Davidson with you.
Oh, it's always fun to get out.
What can you tell us about this bike then? Because I know you've had this a little while, and even more so, you've known about this bike for a long time, right?
It's a 72 FLH Electraglide. It's the golden AMF years. Nobody likes them, but it was early in the AMF ownership to where they hadn't mucked them up too much yet. I got it a couple years ago, but I heard about it about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm an old friend in Seattle that I've kept touch with over the years. He kept telling me about this old guy that goes to the church where he goes, and told him stories of him running up and down the road on his Harley. So I thought, man, I'd like to talk to this guy. So on the trip up to Seattle, we got together and, hey, can I come over and see the bike? Well, yeah, sure, come on over. So we went over and I could see the top of the tank, and there was a windshield up there, but the rest was caved in on it, piled on it, and couldn't even get close to it. So, but I could tell generally what year it was. And he said, yeah, I'm gonna get this running someday. Well, if you ever want to sell it, I could take it away in a hurry. And no, you know, I'm not quite ready. I still have a few good years left. And he was probably 88 at the time. And he bought it brand new. And so he was attached to it. I kept in contact with him over the years, the next couple of years. And through my mutual friend in Seattle and ancient church history, Earl, that I bought the bike from, knew my mom in 1949 and 1950.
Oh my gosh.
And so the fact that he remembered her distinctly kind of gave us a little bit of a, that opened the door a little bit.
Is this something you need to tell us, Ron, or is that another
Well,
video?
I think it was nothing more than a couple rides home from church, but because my mom vaguely remembered him, but nothing specific that she was telling. But it was a couple years later, and he gives me a call and says, you know, I'm getting ready to sell my bike, and I'd like you to have it. I go, man, I'd love to. I don't know if I can afford it. And he gave me a price that, are you sure? Are you sure that much? And he said, yeah, and I kicked it up a little bit. So it was really a gift. It was my good fortune to be at the right place at the right time and have a little bit of a connection. As I got to know more about the bike, it'd been sitting for 17, 18 years. And so all the hydraulic components were froze up, the brakes and the clutch, and carburetor was all stuck. And so you just, you know, the general bringing it out of mothballs. You don't spend a lot of money, you spend a lot of time. Since then, I've just been working out a few bugs, but it's probably the most dependable runner in the vintage garage. They're a good old agricultural machine. They just keep ticking.
And it had lots of accessories with it, didn't he? He bought a lot of...
He stepped up to the accessory counter when he bought it, and they sold him whatever he wanted. And it's got a fairing and a windshield and a top trunk box. And I took that off just because, frankly, it was a little top heavy, and initially it was a little hard to handle for me. It weighs a lot when it's not moving. When you get rolling, it balances itself.
And super comfortable, I'm sure, with that great big saddle. That was your saddle though, wasn't it? You put that one on, didn't you?
You know, back in the 70s, a fella gave me this seat. His brother was renovating a house and found it in the crawl space. And I thought, you know what, that's so cool. Someday I'll use that. And so it just happened to be the solo version of the seat for this bike. I have a big 2-passenger seat, but this is a little more comfortable. And
I know you had like air horns, and you have the big lights, the spotlights on the front.
You know, I had to take the air horns off. It was a little too much. I like the plain, simple kind of stuff.
And of course, you've got the other 72 as well, haven't you?
The 72 Super Glide. Yeah. It's actually this chassis, motor, transmission with a lightweight Sportster front end on it, kind of a stripper. It was Harley's entry into kind of the chopper look in the 70s, which that's what they did with them. That's why to find one in one piece, wow, my lucky day. And so with all the stuff still on it, because 90%, you know, were fixed up. I have the original speedometer that broke at 16,000, and this replacement one has 1,300 on it. I just haven't got around to having the original refurbished, but I want to put the original back on there. I liked them when I was in high school. When I graduated in '71, everybody wanted a Harley. This is kind of the top of the line for back then. It's a dinosaur now, but...
So what's the response then? When you see Harley guys out on the street or at the dealership or something?
Get a lot of, is that a Softail or is that a Road King? What model is that? No, it's a swing arm shovel Electraglide, which lasted up until '84. And then at the Harley shop, I drive up there and, oh, you rode in today. What'd you ride in? Oh, an old Electraglide. Oh, so you want to trade up?
What's the biggest work that you've done on this then? Biggest project that you've done so far?
Nothing has been extremely complicated. It's just hard to get to anything like to replace the rear brake slave cylinder. You have to take the fender off, you have to take the side bags off and get it up in the air high enough to roll the tire out. So it's more labor intensive than it's basic motorcycle mechanics, but it's just uncovering it so you can work on it.
I love the colour. It's just, well, that was the Electraglide colour, wasn't it? Personified. There was a movie, wasn't there?
Electraglide in blue.
And that's a huge cowl, isn't it, on the front there?
It's the closest you'll get to driving a car on a motorcycle. You have your hood sticking out and you have your dashboard and trunk in the back. Like everything American back then, bigger is better. It's just fun to ride. Yeah. It's really fun to ride.
Thanks very much for watching, guys. This has been another tale from the cul-de-sac. Please remember to subscribe and click the little bell and you'll get a notice whenever I release a new video, usually every Sunday morning and sometimes during the week.